Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope y'all are doing well. This is the Roaming Prepper channel. I'm your host, Pete, and today I want to talk about, is this a test? And I think there are a lot of tests going on. What am I talking about? I'll be right back, and let's talk a little bit more about this particular scenario I'm thinking of that I just read about, as well as some other issues that are out there. I'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. I want to share with you this rather bizarre story. And is this a test? So, North Korea launches swarm of sewage balloons. What exactly is that? South Korean's military briefly issued an air raid warning late on Tuesday as it detected. So, this is being recorded on the 29th, so maybe a few days after you've seen this. Um, uh, Warning on Tuesday after it detected suspected North Korean propaganda balloons, but turned out they were carrying waste and excrement. Photos are emerging this morning. This is from X, of the balloons sent from North Korea that have landed in South Korea overnight, filled with trash, not propaganda leaflets, and some bursting their loads with what appears to be manure. And you can see it's just basically, let's see what X tells us here. This is a bunch. So this is one of the balloons here. Uh, oh, hold on a second. We're going to switch screens here. My apologies. Share screen. We're moving over to X itself, the original post. So let me close that again. It says photos are emerging this morning of balloons sent from North Korea that have landed in South Korea overnight, filled with trash, not propaganda leaflets like they normally do. Here's some pictures of the balloons. One of them burst open. There's trash. This is just garbage. Looks like manure, batteries, um, just junk. That's absolutely bizarre. Now, the South Koreans send balloons and other propaganda leaflets and drop them over North Korea, so North Korea sent back garbage. Um, that's just weird, right? That's absolutely bizarre. But the question is, was this a test for something greater? China last year, as we all remember, sent spy balloons all over North America, apparently also over Europe, and we just let them float over all our super secret military bases. Where if I accidentally flew my drone over them because I wasn't paying attention, MPs would come and find me at my house if the FBI didn't. But China gets to do it, which is just ridiculous. But in any case, point being, uh, these these balloons are just weird. Between the ones the Chinese launched and now these, it makes you wonder. And what's I find funny is those balloons, as you can see, are very small, and the South Koreans saw them immediately before they came over the border. But the United States Air Force and NORAD and the US Navy were unable to find that massive balloon that was like the width of the Statue of Liberty's height floating around the US until civilians pointed it out and said that's not right, and then it went all over the news. Then the government admitted what was going on. That was unheard of back in not even two presidencies ago, not even one presidency ago. That would have gotten shot down unless there was some extenuating reason not to. Um, but what's with the balloons? Clearly, this is a very cheap methodology for conveying, well, I guess in this trace, crap and garbage. Um, or was this a test? And that's where I'm going with this video. How easy would it have been to put contaminated manure or dead things full of anthrax or some other chemical or biological dispersant and just dropped it over, say, a bunch of cattle? Right? We've had cattle die offs, not because there was a fire in the barn or there was a chicken plant that caught fire, literally cattle just keeling over in the middle of the field for no reason. There's no clover in the grass, which will kill cattle. There's no poison. The cattle just die, and you never quite get a story. This would be an amazingly ingenious and very cheap way to inundate an enemy's airspace with targets. Um, this concerns me. Now, you by itself, that's just like more political hoorah. But you look at the fact that we have stopped at least 2 to 3 Chinese or Korean nationals a week, according to the news and according to the Pentagon, trying to infiltrate places like Quantico, 29 Palms, San Diego Naval Station, which is Coronado, I believe they call it. Um, what the hell is going on? Why are we not dealing with this? I find it ironic that we're letting in a bunch of military age men, but we're not. And at the same time, we're trying to take firearms away from legal, lawful US citizens. But this kind of stuff is getting swept under the rug. The only reason I found this was because I just happened to be looking for something else and the search engine popped this up. So, what could it be? Could it be a trial run for some biological, chemical, or other dispersant? Could the spy balloon from last year have been a pre run to pop off an EMP? It would have been high enough to do a lot of damage. We don't know. It wouldn't take a big bomb to do a lot of wreak a lot of havoc on the US. The bottom line is, folks, there's a lot of stuff going on that's really unheard of. This is stuff that did not go on 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Completely unheard of. But now it's happening. And that's concerning to me. Personally, I think that a lot of the enemies of the West, enemies of NATO, Canada, the US, Mexico, they smell blood in the water when it comes to the United States. And they're sensing incoherence and weakness. And if it were up to me, if I wanted to cause a problem, I'd try and do it before the election and not after to screw up the election. You never know. There's so many directions we can go in the rabbit trails. But the bottom line is this stuff is concerning because you just as easily could have put chemical or biological agents in those balloons and just let them pop wherever the hell they popped. And God forbid one of these balloons with, say, some kind of contaminant drops on an elementary school, and now you have kids who are affected or passing away because of this. This concerns the hell out of me because a year and a half ago, I made an analogy that it felt like the world was that kid in the grocery store parking lot with the shopping cart, and he was running too fast and he tripped and the cart kept going and now he's chasing the cart trying to stop it. That's how I feel our leadership in the West is. And I don't think they have any clue what they're doing. And quite honestly, some of them, I don't think they care. They could care less about the common people. Even these new immigrants who are coming here, many of whom are actually trying to work and make a living, they don't care about them either. They're simply numbers on a chessboard or pieces on a chessboard, numbers in a tally to keep them in power. They could care less about us. They could care less about the immigrants. They could care less about whatever, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to be in the bunkers, and you and I will have to deal with what's going on up here. Now, how do you prepare for this? This one's one of those. Remember, I normally say prep for the 9, 10%. I'm sorry, the 90% likely stuff. This is one of those 3% situations where it's like, holy cow, who saw that coming? So, what do you do for this? If you have a decent sized residence, you may want to consider getting plastic sheeting like contractor sheeting and duct tape. What that can do, if there is a contamination outside of the house, you can quickly cover the interior windows with that plastic and prevent seepage into the building. This is something that has been done in Houston near refineries. If the refinery catches fire or has an industrial accident, sometimes chlorine gas or chemicals go into the air. People will keep rolls of contractor plastic to tape up windows and then turn off your AC, turn on the fans. It's going to get hot inside, but at least you've kept the external contaminant out until you can figure out your next move. It also protects your pets and your kids. Consider having a mask of some type if you have to go outside and there's contaminants in the air. Uh, Mira Safety here in Austin, Texas makes great products, but there are a lot of good ones on the market. There's some really decent surplus goods, but be careful with the surplus. Make sure the quality is good, and you buy newer filters. Don't buy the old filters because they may be expired. They do decompose over time. Um, but even basic things like dust masks or N95 masks will prevent a lot of contaminants and dust particles from getting into your mouth and lungs. I've talked about PPE quite a bit, not just for disasters, but for contamination. Imagine, for instance, during 9/11, during the attacks in New York, if some of those business people actually had a properly fitting N95 mask and safety glasses and good working steel-toed or hiking boots, they would have been able to get across Manhattan with all that sheetrock and debris a lot easier if they had the proper amenities and they weren't coughing up a bunch of sheetrock trying to escape. So just things to think about. These are more practical things. Obviously, you could do the whole home filtration systems and the more bunker style stuff, but that requires a lot of this and a lot of time. Most of us don't have that much money or time to screw off like that. So we kind of got to work with what we got. Remember, even N95 respirators you find in the construction or in hardware stores will be enough to get rid of a lot of toxins in the air, with the exception of chemical weapons and stuff like that, which would be a whole nother problem. Just general toxins, it helps. It's better than nothing. But again, understand the limits of what you wear and what you buy and pay attention to what's going on. Again, having seen this, that's super interesting. This whole sending trash and balloons to another country, to me, feels like they were testing how effective it was. Where did the balloons land? How much dispersion did we get? And now they know something. So anyway, leave you with that thought. Prepare accordingly. Again, this is one of those 3 to 5% likelihood scenarios. It would be very severe, but it's very unlikely, but possible. We've seen it because it's just happened. So prepare accordingly, be smart. Remember, maximize your money, your time, and your storage. Those are important resources. We don't appreciate our time as much as we should. Till next time, God bless, Godspeed, be safe. We'll see you on the next video.